Hello everyone, welcome. This is the F1 Passport and we're the F1 Brothers. This is our race review of the Belgium Grand Prix, Spa-Francorchamps, 2017, race number 12, right after the summer break. Alright, so as we do, we'll start out with FP1, go through the qualifying, and then review the race lap by lap. Not every lap, only the good ones. Only the good ones that matter. Only the good ones. Good stuff. Alright, FP1, I've got, so they roll the cars off the truck. Lewis seems to have it dialed in. He comes out with soft tires on and runs a lap of 145.56.
Right up there with Raikkonen on the ultra softs, right? So these Mercedes love those freaking soft tires.
They love the soft tires, but I'm thinking, you know, Lewis is what? How many is that? That's 0.053 seconds behind Raikkonen.
Yeah.
When Raikkonen's on ultra softs, you got the super softs and then the softs. So Lewis is on the softs.
Soft, yeah.
And he's still that close to him. So I'm thinking it's done.
Yeah, you think it's gonna be a whitewash?
It's a done deal.
I mean, what are they trying to get set up for long lap race pace or something? I mean, what are they trying to do? I remember early on they started using those soft tires. When the first year the Mercedes was really fast, when they went into preseason, all they were running was the soft tire. It's like they were obsessed with the soft tire, and I'm like, well, does the car just like the soft tire, or does that give them optimal pace in the race? Or
yeah, I think that's the case. They seem to have a problem putting heat into the tires.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, the harder the tire is,
the more heat they can get into it.
I don't know if it's the more heat they can get into it or the better the performance. It's rocket science.
Maybe it's the driving style, like with those harder because the car has a longer wheelbase and you can see Lewis whipping into the turns, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they need a harder tire to keep from wearing him out too quickly.
To allow him
to be able to whip into those.
To adjust to his driving style. Yeah, I mean, it could be. Who knows? All right, another issue with FP1, we got to see the same thing that happened to Lewis that we've never seen before.
Never seen before. I think they did that just to make Lewis feel better, right?
Right, they staged it.
Yeah, they staged it just hey, let's just do it. Let's be like Mercedes. Let's go ahead and get our headrest popping up.
So Kevin Magnussen had his headrest come off in a way that we haven't seen since it happened to Lewis, which we hadn't seen ever.
Only difference is Magnussen wasn't leading the race.
Right.
And it hit on his way to a win.
That was crushing, man. That was crushing.
Yeah, that's the difference between the point standings right now. Lewis being first and Vettel being second.
It's not those 3 points. It's not those 3 points he gave back to his teammate last week.
Freaking headrest.
Yeah, he didn't give those points back last week. That was
he did what he's supposed to do. Can you imagine how he would have been roasted if he hadn't given those points back? Like, we'd still be talking about that, right?
Right. Another thing with FP1 was Massa's crash.
Would you call that vitiligo?
Well, they said the last race he couldn't race.
Right, we had vertigo.
Vertigo.
Like he was like dizzy or whatever.
Vitiligo.
Vitiligo, that's the Michael Jackson stuff. You got vitiligo, don't you? You should know what the hell that is on the back of your neck.
My shit's a little different than that, son.
Yeah, you're gonna change your whole complexion because
it's a heat exhaustion or heat issue.
I'm pretty sure that's what Michael Jackson said too. He came out like 5 shades lighter.
But I remember seeing the crash, and my first thought was, that's Lance Stroll. It's got to be Lance Stroll.
Right.
And then it got closer, and I said, "What? That's Massa?
It's Grandpa Massa.
GP Massa
losing his touch.
He needs to hang it up, dude. He needs to hang it up."
Yeah, that touching walk that he had in Brazil last year. His wife's like, "Man, you need to cut this shit out."
Right, with that hairline, dude. Did you see the hairline when he was walking back?
Nah, I didn't notice that.
The hairline, dude, he's got no hair. It's all right here. It's all right here. And there's nothing right here. It's all right here.
Well, my corners are creeping backwards too, so I'm not going to touch the hair thing.
Yeah, but you're not racing in Formula One. He needs to hang it up. All right, FP2. One thing I noticed for those of us in the U.S. who watch the U.S. feed, Lee Diffie wasn't announcing. He wasn't there, and they never said anything about the fact that he wasn't there.
So who was that guy that announced last year when Diffie was out? He stood in for him.
Yeah, that was that dude Brian Till.
Right, okay,
Brian Till.
See, I mean, what's his background? He's an American dude, or
he's American. He's a former race car driver. I don't know what series. I think he drove in. I'm not sure what series he drove in, but
that dude was the truth, man. He brought something different to the broadcast. The questions that he asked, the observations that it was completely different.
The things that he talked about, the perspective that he brought was just it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So and we haven't heard from him since.
Nah,
we haven't seen him or heard from him.
Fell off the plane. You don't see him on any other type of racing, any other types of broadcasts. Yeah. It's just you don't see him on YouTube. You don't see him anywhere.
Brian Till, we miss you, dude.
Yeah, come on, man. Put something out there, dude. We want to see it.
Yeah. All right, so we get into qualifying, and I think the only thing to really note here is
68, baby.
Number 68.
68.
Number 68, dude.
I mean, it's crazy. Watching Formula One for the Red Bull years and seeing Red Bull and Vettel just dominate, like I thought Vettel would be the one hitting all these records. I mean, for a while he was the only one like breaking records, and you kind of forgot about Lewis. And then Lewis went to Mercedes, and then all of a sudden you realize just how much this cat has done.
Yeah.
Because he was so, it didn't take but 2 years for him to start breaking records and stuff.
It's a massive accomplishment.
Yeah.
Just massive. I mean, Lewis the God.
Yeah, and it's one thing to be fast in qualifying, right? Usually, you have a driver who's fast in qualifying, but not necessarily fast in the race.
Right.
And it's like Lewis has the whole package. He's fast in qualifying. He's got the discipline to save his tires and to be fast in the race as well. And I don't feel like he gets the respect he deserves for being a complete driver.
For his racecraft.
Yeah.
I think this past race showed what his skill was. And I was very pleased to hear a lot of the different podcasts and shows out there. They were recognizing him for
well, I learned something about racing just by watching this last race. Some of the stuff he was doing at the end of Eau Rouge, at the top of Eau Rouge, and slowing down.
Right.
I'd learned how to block and how to defend better just by slowing down at the right place.
And a lot of other professional racers.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of professional racers talk about how, wow, that was really smart.
Yeah.
I'm going to start doing that now.
And he didn't talk about it on the radio. It's like he doesn't want to share too many of his secrets, and his team didn't talk about it either. You heard the broadcasters start to talk about it and bring it up, but just masterful, man. Even Vettel was. I don't think he even realized what he was doing.
Not during the race.
Yeah,
he didn't realize.
I think Vettel just thought he made a mistake, as opposed to Lewis drawing him into that mistake.
So what he was doing was, when he came through Eau Rouge, he would slow down. Right?
Right at the top.
Right at the top of Eau Rouge, he would slow down. That would make Vettel get close enough to where he would have to get out of the slipstream sooner than he should have. And then that made it a drag race down that long Camel Straight. Right?
And Mercedes has got him.
And Mercedes has got, he at least has a fighting chance. I remember seeing Alonso when he passed Hulkenberg. I couldn't believe that pass happened. Yeah. But you could see Alonso come out of Eau Rouge, and he jumped out of the slipstream too fast, but then fell back into it.
Okay.
As soon as he fell back into it, you could see him close on him. You thought he was gonna hit him, and then he pulled out and was able to pass. So if Lewis didn't slow down and just floored it out of Eau Rouge on the Camel Straight, then Vettel would have been able to stay in the slipstream, pick up speed, and then pass him towards the end of the Camel Straight.
He never picked up on that the way Alonso did. And it's one of the first things I noticed about Formula One racing in general, because our background, we grew up watching NHRA. Our dad's a
NHRA, baby, drag racing. Give it a chance.
We went to the races as a kid. That's how our dad introduced us to racing, and then from there into NASCAR. Right. And just my thought of NASCAR was it's slipstream and drafting. You want to get as close to the car in front of you to get a draft, because you go faster and then you can slingshot around.
And in NASCAR, the car in front is at a disadvantage.
Right.
The car behind is at an advantage.
Right.
That's not the case in Formula One.
And it took me a long time to understand that, the way that these cars are set up with the front wings and how the air hits the wing when they're in that dirty air behind the car. That's what threw me off. Right. I didn't really understand that. And so, but there is still the possibility for that when you're on a straight, when you're in a straight line,
long enough,
you can still get some of that advantage from the slipstream,
because the air is flowing over you. It's not hitting your front wing, it's flowing over you.
Right.
There's no air hitting you.
Right.
And you can go faster.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Brilliance, man. Brilliant.
It's more complex. That's why it's more complex in NASCAR. It's another level of racing.
All right, Q3, we've got Lewis at 1 minute 42.55, Vettel at 142.8. So Lewis is 0.25 seconds faster, only 2.5 tenths of a second faster than Vettel in qualifying.
Those Ferraris are fast as hell. First of all, okay, that's question. That's statement number one. Statement number two is, where the hell's Bottas? Why is Vettel always number two to Hamilton? So that right there tells me that Vettel is an elite driver, right? In the same degree that Hamilton is an elite driver, Alonso is an elite driver, Verstappen is an elite driver, Vettel is that elite driver, and that he can get more out of that car than what's really there.
Yeah.
And Bottas, even though he's solid and consistent, he has some tracks where he's good, he can't match that level consistently.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. I love my boy Bottas, man. I love him.
Do you love him only because he doesn't challenge Hamilton that much?
I'm sure Hamilton loves him for that reason.
Well, I know that's why Hamilton is that.
Maybe subconsciously.
Take your Lewis hat off for a second.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Maybe subconsciously. I just think he's the ultimate teammate. He's.
I like that part. I really like that part about him, because there's no need for all this fighting and contention when you have the possibility to win races and win championships. But he needs to step it up, dude, because he's not helping Lewis. He's not helping Mercedes.
But it's okay if he can't step it up because Lewis.
Is it okay? Is it? I don't know that it's okay.
As long as Mercedes recognizes Lewis as the number one driver and gives him the respect that he deserves.
Do they recognize him?
I think they do now. They do now. All indications suggest that they're ready to.
They did. I did hear talk about them considering team orders the rest of the way out.
Right.
Which, I like the fact that they let their drivers race the same way Force India does. We're going to talk about that later. But
to their detriment.
Right, to their detriment. But I like the fact that you keep all options on the table.
Yeah.
Why not win both titles?
Right.
Why not, if you have the opportunity?
That's how you can attract good drivers to your team.
That's how you attract sponsors. That's how you attract other drivers.
Right.
That's how you dominate F1. You know what I mean? Ferrari understands that. Well, Ferrari's a little more thirsty because they haven't won anything in a while. But still.
Right. All right, so we go into the race. Lap 1, we've got and my I follow the race on the F1 app, and they had the race order wrong. They made a mistake on the race order at the start of the race.
Really?
Yeah, I had to make some adjustments. which is probably the reason why we're recording this so late. But so we got Lewis on top, Vettel, Bottas, Raikkonen, Verstappen, Ricardo, Hulkenberg, Perez, all the way down to Van Dorn at the bottom with a 156 million grid place penalty.
It's ridiculous, man. That's the craziest rule ever. Did you notice Hamilton pushing his car really hard in installation laps before the race?
Yeah.
He was really like going hard, like he was on a qualifying lap or something. It stuck out to me.
Trying to get heat in
Get
those
heat in
tires.
those tires, yeah.
So all the top 9 drivers are on used Ultra Softs. They're 3 laps old from their Q2 efforts. After Q2, those are the tires they have to race in if they make it into Q3. Runners number 10 through 13 were on Ultra Softs, but most of those are brand new. And then we had most of the drivers on, the rest of the drivers on Super Softs. I think one was on Softs. That was Verline, to his detriment. But we came out of lap 1. We're on lap 1, and Vettel is just all over.
Yeah. Can we talk about the start? So, I feel like Hamilton got the better start. He pulled off away from everybody, which I thought was good. But Vettel closed it up, bumper to bumper, side by side, in the straight coming out of Eau Rouge.
Yeah.
Was it out of Eau Rouge? Or
Out of Eau Rouge is the Camel Straight.
Camel Straight. Side by side, just like, we'll talk about how they did it at the restart too, but it's side by side. I was like, oh crap, what the hell? These Ferraris are quick.
This was a great race.
Those Ferraris,
Great
man.
race.
I mean, I don't know. I enjoy the fact that those Ferraris are able to step it up and push the Mercedes. It just makes it so much more interesting.
Think about what it's going to be next year when we got Mercedes, Ferrari,
and who?
We're going to have a Red Bull and Renault.
You think Red Bull will be there?
We're going to have at least 4 teams, and maybe even
That would be
Force
awesome.
India.
To see Red Bull pushing again, that would be good.
Heck yeah.
So lap 1, Perez and Ocon, their first interaction. What the hell is going on? Can I just go on record as saying that my favorite young driver is Ocon? Can I go on record officially?
You go on record, man, but he's dead to me.
Hey, I don't care what
he's dead to me. I'm done with him.
I'm over it, but I don't know. I like this dude, man. I like him. I like the way he drives. I like his personality. I like his approach to driving. I like that he's going around and he's pimp smacking the hell out of Perez, making Perez do stuff that is just completely out of his character.
Yeah, he looks like the old man in the club.
Perez
looks like the old man in the club.
still trying to back on those young girls.
Still trying to back on them young chicks.
Yeah. So Perez pushes Ocon into the wall pretty aggressively, coming into Eau Rouge.
If you have a gap as a racer, as the late great Senna said, you're supposed to take it.
Yeah.
You see a gap, you're supposed to take it. Otherwise, you're not a racer.
Yeah, and so much of it comes down to camaraderie or professional respect, right?
Right.
Do you allow this person to take that gap that they have, or do you wreck both of your cars?
And I like what Ocon said. You know, I think that he said that I think Perez thinks because I'm a rookie that I'm supposed to stay behind him.
And then also Ocon he said he excused the first lap incident because they were 3 wide.
Right.
He said, so that can happen. That's professionalism. That's a young driver who understands what racing is all about. That's one of the reasons why.
He still held Lewis back at Baku, man.
Yeah, you got to get over that, man. You got to get past
He held
that.
Lewis back at Baku.
That's because Lewis is the greatest driver of his time, and Ocon felt the need to show what he could do.
Keep him behind.
Yeah. And it wasn't. I don't think it had anything to do with him wanting to be a Ferrari driver or trying to show out for. I think it was just he was pumped up for that challenge.
I appreciate that.
And
shit.
he wanted to see what he could do against Hamilton.
I appreciate that. I won't forgive it.
Okay. Whatever, man.
All right, lap 2. We've got Ocon tries to go 3 wide. he got pushed up against the wall, but he actually made the pass.
Oh, okay.
He got past Perez on that.
Sparks, rubber, everything flying. He made it through anyway.
We've got Hulkenberg passing Alonso around the outside. Man, that was beautiful.
Well, they were kind of going back and forth because you had Alonso passing Hulkenberg first.
Afterwards.
And then you had Hulkenberg come back around.
I thought it was Hulkenberg.
The other way around?
Hulkenberg passed first.
Okay.
And then Alonso got back around him. But that first lap pass, or second lap pass that Hulkenberg did on Alonso around the outside was just phenomenal.
Yeah, but what does that say about Renault that they're battling with McLaren?
And we talked about it last episode. Renault is with that new floor. They're past McLaren. They're past Force India. They're right behind the Red Bulls right now.
All right,
as a works team, as they should be. You know, with Hulkenberg behind the wheel, your punk ass Palmer. He started out good. He qualified better than Hulkenberg. You haven't seen that in a while.
For the first time. Is that the first time ever he out qualified?
I'm not sure.
I think it's the first time ever, yeah. Well, this season anyway.
Then we've got Alonso looking froggy at turn 1 at La Source. But he can't make anything stick. He's able to get the draft and then make the pass. On the straight after Eau Rouge, he pulled out of the slipstream. So this is the one where he pulled out too soon and then came back in, and they got the pass right back on Hulkenberg. I mean, the dude's driving a Volkswagen Bug when everyone else is in Formula One cars, and he's still passing people, man.
Yeah, but if he can only do it without reminding us every 5 seconds that he's in.
I wish he would rein that attitude in, you know. All right, lap 3, we've got quite a few passes. We've got Hulkenberg getting the pass back on Alonso. We've got Perez getting past Magnussen. We've got Palmer getting past Grandpa Massa.
And then we got Verline going out of the race. Suspension problems.
The team is not supporting the half brother. What's up with that?
Yeah, the Afro-German.
Afro-German.
I love that term, Afro-German.
Yeah, man.
I wish I was an Afro-German just so I could have that title. That shit is cool.
We got Beto on lap 3 with the fastest lap, 150.61. Lap 4, we've got, so Alonso got passed by Hulkenberg lap 3. Now he gets passed by Ocon. Lap 4, your boy.
Ocon.
Then we got Grosjean getting past Magnussen, dropping like a rock.
You gotta call him
Rogro. And then Lewis gets the fastest lap on lap 4. Lap 5, nothing to report. Lewis, fastest lap again. He goes from a 150.33 to 149.93. So the tires must be hitting that sweet spot, the Goldilocks zone. Lap 6, nothing really to report. Grosjean got past. Rogro got past Alonso, dropping like a rock, dude. And then we got on the American feed, we've got Will Buxton, who says that he predicts. I love Will Buxton's predictions. I love his predictions.
I thought you didn't like his predictions.
I love the fact that he even tries to predict. He's not right very often.
Right.
And that was my point. He just doesn't hit them very often. But I love the fact that he makes the attempt.
Right, because it makes you think about different possibilities in the race and strategies. And, he didn't have a supercomputer in his head to tell him what's going to happen. He's just going off of his experience and what he knows to make, assumptions. Right.
So he predicts that the undercut will play big here because it's such a long track.
Yep. It takes so long to get around the track that the undercut is the
And he may have been right here because Lewis decided to pit first and not to allow that.
And I had a question about that. I'm like, why is the lead car coming in instead of forcing the second car to show his hand.
Because the undercut was so strong
Yeah.
here, he
Just
decided,
took it away from
He just
him.
took it away
Took it
from
away
him.
from him,
Right. So I think Will knows what he's talking about. I love Will, man. I love Will Buxton.
Yeah.
That's my boy.
Yeah.
You know, who was in that?
So who is it that had that role before Buxton? That
The guy
used
that
to
did
interviews?
the announcing and
before the race
interviews.
and had the little backpack and the camera and all that stuff.
Shit, man, that was I forgot already.
The Peter Windsor.
Peter
Windsor.
Windsor. Yeah,
Yeah.
Peter Windsor.
Yeah, and I liked him too. Like he
Dude,
was
he's
really
phenomenal,
good.
man.
He was really good.
You know, he tried to start his own team. He was
Oh,
going to
racing team?
Yeah, he was going to do U.S. Grand Prix.
Do you think
He
that's why
left-
he got bumped?
He left that job to be a owner of U.S. Grand Prix,
Okay.
and then they fell apart. They couldn't put a car on the grid,
Okay.
and he was out of that position. Will jumped in there and killed it.
Buxton jumped in there like
Buxton was
like
at,
he had been there forever.
He was at GP2. He was at the
Oh, is that
lower
where he was?
series.
That's why he knows so much about
Yeah.
GP2.
That's where he earned his
brings
stripes.
that. Yeah, he brings that.
So he knows a lot of the younger drivers. He knows Lewis extremely well. He knows Vettel very well. You know. But yeah, well, what's his name again?
Peter Windsor.
Peter Windsor. What's the name of this podcast?
I don't even know what name.
The Racer's Edge.
Racer's Edge.
The Racer's
yeah,
Edge. If
yeah.
you're not familiar with it, check it out.
It's good stuff.
Check it
man.
out.
Good
Phenomenal
stuff.
He's got this technical expert. I forget his name.
I can't think of his name either.
forget his name.
It's some goofy name.
Yeah.
On the
I think it's something with the S.
Scarborough.
Dave Scarborough, I think
Yeah.
his name is.
Yeah.
Dude is phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone break down a car better
Yeah.
than Scarborough.
When he compares the different cars and
I mean, he looks at all the deep. Why isn't this dude working at a team somewhere
right.
designing cars? If he can identify the stuff that he can identify, why isn't he working at a team somewhere?
Yeah.
You know, who did he piss off? Does he have a drinking problem or
Yeah,
something?
Right. Whose girlfriend did he screw?
Right. Well, he doesn't look like that. He
He
don't
look
like
like
he
he
got that
pulled
kind of
off.
game. He don't like he got that kind of game.
Right.
All right, lap 7. I don't think we had anything happen lap 7. Everything was status quo. Lap 8, Verstappen
Engine problems.
loses
man.
power, man.
What the hell
fuck?
is going? 50% retirement rate.
Now, a couple
6
of
out of
those
12.
were him having accidents. So
Well,
not quite that
It's not all engine
attrition
trouble.
rate.
But you look at Montreal, engine just faded on it.
Right.
What the hell's going on? Why is his engine fading and Ricardo's engine hasn't faded yet?
History tells me the team knows he's leaving. The team knows he's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So, fuck Verstappen,
Yeah.
essentially. All hail Daniel Ricciardo.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Now, I don't appreciate the fact that the Dutch fans showed up in such force and didn't get to see their boy finish the race. That's just wrong.
That's bad for Formula One in general. It's like you're the most expensive sport in the world, right? But you can't keep one car on the track when half the fans at the damn stadium are there to see one driver.
He's putting butts in seats.
Yeah.
He's putting butts in seats.
Yeah.
He deserves a chance.
Yep.
You know?
The same way in Montreal, who's the Canadian driver?
Stroll. Lance Stroll.
Put on a show.
Put on the show. We were there, man. We were there. Look at the banner. This is from the year before. We were there 2017 too.
Yep, the last race we went to. And dude just put every pass he made, the crowd went crazy. Didn't matter where he was on the track, how far back he was, and dude felt that energy and he just put on a freaking
And he
show.
stepped up, man.
And this is Verstappen, one of your hottest, young, up-and-coming drivers. His only home track of the year. Millions of orange shirts all over the place. He's got his commemorative orange helmet on. And he's out in, lap 8?
Like he said, unacceptable.
It's bad for the sport.
Unacceptable. All right, lap 9, we've got our first pit stops. We've got Palmer and Ericsson in for pits.
So I think originally Buxton was predicting lap 14 would be the start of pits.
Yeah, that's what I recall.
Yeah.
Now Magnussen was on the radio several times saying, "Look, I got to get off these tires. I got to get off these tires." At least 3 or 4 times.
Right.
He's trying to dictate the strategy, and the team says, "No, no, no, stay out." Finally, lap 10, Magnussen wins his plea to change tires, and the team allowed him to pit. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but it's pretty interesting. Lap 11, we've got Ocon, Grosjean, and Alonso in the pits. And then we get radio reports that Bottas is having blistering on his tires. He just didn't have a good weekend.
He had a terrible weekend. He just couldn't. He didn't feel that track from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Couldn't get the setup right. No, it's just odd. It's just weird to see him struggle so hard. When he struggled, he really struggles.
Yeah.
And you'd like to see the type of partnership where if one driver struggles at a track, the other one it kind of excels.
Right.
And I think that's the relationship that Hamilton and Nico had. Nico was really strong. He was really strong in all the areas that Lewis was weak.
So was he just as consistent as Bottas, yet had a little more?
I think he had a lot more extra than Bottas.
Yeah.
I think Nico just was a much more complete driver and a much more competitive threat to Hamilton.
Yeah,
I wouldn't put him on the same level as Hamilton, but he was right there, man. And just all out blistering qualifying pace. There's nobody on the planet that's going to match Hamilton.
Yeah.
But one slip up, one iota of a slip up by Hamilton, and Rosberg was all over it.
I think Bottas is capable. I think he needs a little more time. I think we need to be a little more patient with him. I think he's going to get there.
I'm not sure about that.
I love Bottas.
I'm not sure.
Man love.
I think we've seen the best that we're going to see
Man
from Bottas.
love. It's his first season.
Well, yeah, and how long are we going to keep saying that?
First
We're
season,
going to be
man.
saying that.
Give the man a chance.
There's going to be 2 races left in the season.
Give
We're going to be
the man a
like,
chance.
he just joined the team. He's still learning the team. It's like, come on, man.
All right, lap number 12 is hammer time, son. Hammer time.
Hammer time.
Get you.
How come nobody does a little hammer time, like, emoji or something when they say that? You should have the big parachute pants and everything going on when you say that.
Lap 13, we've got quite a few changes here. Hamilton pits, a nice pit stop.
Blistering 2.3
seconds,
quick.
yo. We've got.
Remember the pit crew changes between Hamilton and Rosberg last year?
Season, yeah.
Do you know what team he has now? Is it the same one he finished the season with last year?
I think it's the same team he had last year.
Yeah. Had to suck for them because they were with Rosberg when Hamilton won the championship, and then they were with Hamilton when Rosberg won the championship. Like, they ain't getting any championships for the last 2 years.
They still probably still got a ring, or at least got to participate in the festivities.
Step up their game.
Perez, I think, pitted on lap 13. You've got Ericsson passing Palmer. I think Palmer hit the pits too. Actually, we did mention that. Lap 14, Bottas is in the pits, but a little slower pit. 3.3 less, a whole second slower. This is the second race
where they had slower pits.
Where Bottas had a slower pit, man. That's
maybe he's not hitting the brake mark.
Not hitting the spot,
the brake
right,
spots.
Right. No, unacceptable. All right, so lap 14.
Stop your little man crush.
Lap 14, Perez gets past Kvyat and Van Dorn in the black and orange ugly car.
GP2 looking car.
GP2 engine,
GP2 engine, GP2 paint scheme.
It's like embarrassing.
No sponsors, no nothing.
Lap 15, Vettel's in the pits. All right, so Vettel goes into the pits. That puts Raikkonen in the lead, and then Hamilton just pimp smacks it. He just pimp smacked it.
Well, I thought he was stuck because Hamilton has a tendency to kind of struggle to pass people when you think he should pass people.
Yeah.
You know, when he really, really needs a pass, sometimes he struggles at it. And I just knew, oh, here we go again. Raikkonen's going to hold him up for the next 10 laps. He's going to be driving around on, 40-lap old tires, and Hamilton's still going to be struggling behind him. Then he's going to start complaining, I got blisters, blisters.
The strong pimp. He gave him the pimp smack.
Nah, Lewis is like, this is my track, homie. This is where I straight put it in overdrive and just go.
So he came out of Eau Rouge on the Camel Straight and just showed him how it's done. Lap 16, Raikkonen, after getting pimp smacked, decides to go into the pits. Ocon gets past Sainz, your boy Ocon, making a move. Magnussen gets past Van Dorn, who's dropping like a rock. Lap 17, nothing to report. Alonso gets on the radio talking crap. Talking crapola.
No more radio the rest of the race.
No more radio the rest of the race. He owns that team.
Lap 17.
He owns that team.
Maybe. Yeah, I wonder if it was some information that he would have needed from 18 on. And they're just like, you said no more radios, we're not talking to you.
And they still talk to him after that. And he said it again. No more radio.
Shut up, Alonso.
I mean, he owns that team, dude. Zach Brown. Yeah. Zach Brown. I mean, I wouldn't be an owner or a principal of a team and have my driver
running the team.
He's
Right.
deciding the engine.
Yeah.
He's deciding race strategy.
Yeah.
I don't want to race no more. It's embarrassing. I'm coming in. I'm parking.
Well, they didn't want Ron Dennis, so didn't Raikkonen get a penalty, a 10-second penalty on lap 17?
Yeah, it was announced on lap 17, but he had to serve it on lap 18.
So we talked about this in one of our earlier podcasts where you get a 10-second, 5-second penalty, and do you stay out for the next 20 laps and ruin the drive of the racers behind you, or do you come right in and serve the penalty?
It was a stop-go penalty.
Yeah.
And I think because of that designation, he could take it whenever he felt like.
He just chose at that point.
The team chose to bring him in on lap number 18.
Right.
So Raikkonen serves his penalty. And I've heard reports that, of course, Raikkonen got on the radio and said, well, the car was behind the barrier, but before he recognized that the car was behind the barrier, he saw the yellow flag.
Mm-hmm.
And all he had to do was lift off for just a half a second. But you could hear the engine and you could hear that he didn't lift off.
And how long has he been racing that he doesn't know that? It's like, come on, dude.
Grandpa, man.
Petulance.
Grandpa. We got Raikkonen, we got Massa. Who are the other grandpas that need to
They're like
step aside?
They're like the baby boomers who are still working at like 70 years old.
70 years old.
Freaking retired already.
Just retire, man. You got enough money. You got enough. Give these young dudes a chance.
Yeah.
Give the young dudes a chance. It's ridiculous. All right, lap 19. We've got Kvyat in the pits. We've got Van Dorn in the pits. Not that makes any good a day.
We also had a 5-second penalty for Perez leaving the track to gain an advantage. Perez is being exposed.
Perez, he's
being the pimp hand of Ocon.
Ocon got him racked up. He rattled his cage.
He's all shook.
Ocon rattled his cage.
He don't even know how to drive anymore. Ocon got him shook up. So lap 23 is when you started to notice Hamilton taking a couple of laps off to refresh the tires and then going hard for a few laps, and then he was kind of doing a cycle, right, to keep the tires right at their optimal range. I think on the US feed, the announcer started to notice that pattern.
So I've got lap 23, Hamilton's at a 149.05 and Vettel's at a 149.42. So Lewis is still a little bit faster than him. Bottas is behind them at a 149.07, which is still just a tiny bit slower than Hamilton. Lap 24, Bottas actually got the fastest lap with 148. He finally first one to break into the 148. Oh, actually not the first, but 148.62. Lewis is at a 149.2, and Vettel's at a 149.
So this is where Hamilton's taking a rest in the tires. He's what? He's at 149.2, and Vettel's at a 148.9. So that's a pretty significant difference. Like Hamilton is really resting those tires.
Yeah.
Lap 25.
Lap 25, Raikkonen gets past Hulkenberg after his pit stop. Sainz gets past Stroll and Palmer. Got a 2 for 1. Got a twofer. Lap 26, we've got a lot of changes here. We've got Grosjean and Magnussen getting past Grandpa Massa. We got Sainz getting past Perez. We've got Alonso. I think he went to the pits.
He retired. Yeah, he retired at lap 26.
Yeah.
He touched tires with Palmer.
Yeah, he was. What was up with that?
You're
not having a good race.
You trying to go out and
trying
go in
to mess
somebody
with-
else's
yeah.
race? Like, come on, Alonso, man.
Alonso might be going to that team.
Yeah, to Renault. Yeah.
He don't need to be messing with the. Or maybe he's trying to pimp smack the place he's going to take.
The seat he's trying to take. He's like, oh, let me get a little close, see what that seat looks like.
Right. Lap 27, nothing. Lap 28, we've got Ocon in the pits on lap 28.
Lap 29.
Lap 29, Perez gets past Ocon. And then some.
So lap 29 is where Perez and Ocon go at it again.
Right.
So we had the first lap incident where Perez put Ocon into the wall over 3
took
wide.
responsibility for
He
it.
took responsibility for it. Ocon forgave him for it. Lap 29, they're coming into Eau Rouge again. Perez cuts across him, takes out Ocon's front wing,
And gets his tire.
punctures his rear tire in the process. Ocon is just on the radio going crazy. He's trying to kill me. I'm at 200 miles per hour, all this stuff.
Right.
And I have to agree with him. Like, what in the world is Perez thinking? The older, more experienced driver doing stuff that you wouldn't expect a rookie to do. Like, what the heck is going on with this dude?
Older drivers feel they feel that they have the right to do that. They have the right to defend their line, but you're supposed to give space.
Okay.
And Ocon, he sees space. He has to take it.
Did anybody get a penalty for that incident?
No.
The hell,
They
man?
investigated it but decided not to take any action. And the second incident, both incidents, Perez should have been, I think, docked.
Yeah.
But he wasn't for either. But in the end, he gave himself a penalty by coming into another car,
Slicing
getting
his
his
own
tire
tire.
sliced. It was
Big
poetic justice.
Right.
He deserved what he got.
Touche.
Touche. All right, lap 30, we got Magnussen passing Grosjean.
This is under safety car, right? So lap 29, we had the incident with Perez and Ocon. Safety car comes out. Lap 30, Raikkonen jumped into the pits. And I'm thinking, oh no, here we go. Like he
The undercut.
Yeah, he got the jump on everybody. He's gonna come out in front. But then all of a sudden everybody jumped into the pits.
Right.
So you had Hamilton go in and get soft tires. Vettel went in on ultras. Bottas on soft. Ricciardo on ultras and Raikkonen on ultras.
Okay.
So I'm like, everybody's on ultras except for Team Mercedes. Like, the hell are they thinking?
So I've got at lap 32, I got Hamilton on softs, Vettel on ultras, Bottas in third on softs, Ricciardo on ultra, Raikkonen on ultra. And this just bunches the field up. So Raikkonen suffered with this penalty, but now because of the safety car, he gets to catch back up and has an opportunity here. Behind them, we've got Hulkenberg on ultra softs, but they're used, 5 laps old, and then Grosjean on super softs. So only Mercedes Hamilton and Bottas are on the freaking softs,
Yeah.
man. I'm thinking, dude, this is it.
That-
We're screwed.
That Mercedes car is built for the soft tire.
We're screwed.
They designed that car to run on the soft tire.
Evidently.
And so the whole time they're behind the safety car, you got Hamilton giving his customary complaint. Why is the safety car driving so slow? Because it's not a Formula One car, idiot. Like,
Why
what do you
don't they
expect
put
them
a
to do?
Formula One car as the doggone pace car?
Well, I mean, who's gonna drive it? A former driver, I guess.
Yeah, get Weber to drive the damn
I
thing.
mean, that's a good point.
Or Coulthard.
Is the point to slow down, or is the point to just control the? I mean, what's the point of the safety
As far as
car?
I can see, the point is that Mercedes paid enough money to get their SLR.
get some TV
to get some TV time. Get a damn Formula One car out there that can keep the pace.
Yeah, it's like, but Hamilton's the only one that complains about it. I don't hear anyone else complaining about the pace of the safety car.
Because no one else is as fast as him.
Nobody else is up there as often as he is. so the whole time I'm watching the safety car, I'm like, okay, Vettel, you gonna run into the back of Hamilton again
Right,
this
right,
time?
right.
Jackass.
Jackass, man. Who does that, man?
Who doesn't and gets away with it?
Who is that got away with it? Maldonado. You remember that time that Maldonado, after the race, I forget what race it was, but Lewis at the last turn cut him off and went in front of him. And then after they finished past the finish line, Maldonado came up behind him and smashed into him. You know, I'm like, that's vehicular homicide. Dude.
Right.
You know, lock his ass.
That's a misdemeanor. That's
That's
a
a
attempted homicide.
Lock his ass up. The same thing Vettel did, man. Lock him up.
No way he should have got away with that crap, man. I don't care who the hell he is. I don't care who he drives for. He shouldn't have got away with that shit. I'm still pissed about that.
Unacceptable. All right, lap 35. I guess the safety car is in now. We got Lewis with the fastest lap, 147.7. Vettel's way back at 148.
Well, we got to talk about the restart first. Lap 34, the safety car came in, and just like the start of the race, coming up Eau Rouge, Vettel is right on Hamilton's ass.
On that ass.
I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh damn! Like it's over. It's
done.
no way Hamilton's gonna hold him off because you got the draft on the straight, you got the slingshot, and I'm just thinking it's over with.
So how the hell did he hold him off?
You tell me, cuz what the hell?
All right. So, what Lewis did, coming up Eau Rouge, the top of Eau Rouge, right when he got to the top of Eau Rouge, he slowed down. All right, you got the camel straight, long straight after Eau Rouge. He slowed down right at the top of it, which made Vettel come close up to him and come out and try to make the pass.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives them both, they're both in the same air. You got the Mercedes engine, it's a drag race, and Lewis has a chance. Now, if coming out of the top of Eau Rouge, Lewis would have floored it and got a little bit in front of Vettel, Vettel would have had the slipstream, he would have slowly caught up, gained speed, gained momentum, and then slingshot past him. But Lewis negated that.
He negated the slingshot. By slowing
Genius.
I've never heard of that being done. I've never heard of that as a possibility to do. You talk about people making their car wide. You talk about Verstappen last year doing double moves and moving under braking and all that stuff. I've never heard of it. Just he didn't have to move at all. He just slowed down, took away the slipstream.
Right.
Genius.
Lewis the God.
No, and nobody talks about that type of stuff. Nobody talks about what he's doing in this race.
The racecraft.
Nobody talks about him. Lewis got his props for this race. He was voted, driver of the day or whatever for the first time that I can remember.
Right.
But I just thought that was genius. And Lewis, the US feed, the guys picked up on it also, and they started talking about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
And the lap times show it. I mean, we collect statistics on every lap, and we're meticulously writing in every lap time. That's why it takes us.
Was it copious notes?
Copious notes. It takes us a little more time to to prepare ourselves to get ready to produce each lap. And we got Monza coming up, you know, this 1 week. I kind of like it when we got a couple weeks
together,
off.
man.
We gotta get it together.
Get on it.
That's why we're in our work attire, recording this right after work.
Yeah.
You know, doing what we gotta do. All right, lap 36. We've got Lewis is running a 146.6. Vettel's at a 147.04. I think he's slowing him down still.
Yeah, the ultra soft's supposed to be a second and a half quicker than the soft.
Unbelievable.
Doesn't look like it to me.
Unbelievable. So, and we didn't mention that on lap 34, Bottas is in the same situation as Lewis, except Bottas gets
pimp
passed,
smacked twice.
Pimp smacked on both sides of the face.
Yeah.
On the street. On the
Yeah,
street.
passed on the street. But what about the Mercedes power against the Red Bull, against the Ferrari? Like, come on,
I
dude.
love my boy Bottas, man, but this can't happen. This can't happen. This is unacceptable. You know? Unacceptable. This can't happen. And he doesn't have a contract yet, and Verstappen is trying to get his seat.
That's a pairing I don't want to see. I don't want to see Verstappen and Hamilton.
Verstappen and Hamilton, now from my perspective, I think Hamilton has it better of him. But from realistic perspectives, you got someone with blue eyes putting butts in seats.
Mm-hmm. But you got to think about it also. It's like Mercedes went through this whole ordeal for the last 2 years with Rosberg and Hamilton bickering and fighting and going at each other and taking each other out of races and stuff. Now you have symmetry, you have camaraderie, you have team unity.
Right.
Why would you want to introduce that level of disruption into the team unless you're just thinking about the future? Like, you're thinking past Verline being your young driver, and you're thinking, let's get this Verstappen cat in,
Right.
and let's take the car. You know he's younger.
Well,
he'll go further than.
if Bernie
than us.
Ecclestone was still running the sport, he would force this type of move.
But Bernie was big for Hamilton, right? Because
He
Hamilton
loved-
brought a whole.
He
new
loved
crowd.
Hamilton because Hamilton put butts in seats.
Yeah, he brought a whole.
He
new
would
crowd.
love Verstappen because
For the same reason.
Verstappen put butts in seats.
Yeah.
You know, it ain't nothing personal.
It would be big theater, man. Big theater to see those two guys going at each other
I would love to see it.
in identical cars.
And Lewis just said that Vettel doesn't want to be on the same team as him.
Yeah.
As if to say,
You don't want none of this, homie.
you don't want none of this,
You don't want
homeboy.
none of this.
All right, we got lap 37. Not much happening. Hamilton is starting to pull out a little bit of a gap. I'm still astonished by the fact that he's able to pull out a gap when he's on soft tires, and Vettel and everyone behind him is on ultra softs, and he manages to hold it out. I don't have any notes until lap 42 where Perez gets dropped. I think he served. Did he serve his penalty, or did he
I
come
thought
to
he got passed by Palmer
and
on
Van
lap 42,
Dorn?
and Van Dorn, and then he was told to box and retire. So who knows? He can't. You run into enough cars into the wall, make enough contact, you're gonna damage your car.
Right.
You would think a seasoned driver would know that.
And that's the race. That's essentially the race, guys. Any points you want to make after the fact?
Yeah, my race thoughts are just, Hamilton controlled the race masterfully. He had pressure. I don't know how many races I've seen where the cars P1 and P2 are that close the entire
whole race.
Yeah, it was crazy. And nobody's making mistakes. Vettel, Hamilton, they both were on their A game. Vettel ended up getting the fastest lap, so he took away, Lewis's perfect race, or the chance of a perfect race. Vettel had really just those two chances to pass at the start and at the restart. He couldn't make it stick. Yeah, couldn't make it stick. Got side by side. I'm sure the fans were going crazy.
Yeah,
Man.
I know.
The fans
I
had to
can't
go crazy.
imagine what it was like to be there and see that.
Yeah. And so the lead is cut to 7 points. So
7
Vettel
points.
is 7 points ahead of Hamilton, 220 to 213.
It's gonna be an all-out sprint.
So one more race, if it's the same result, 1-2, they'll be tied in points, right?
Yeah.
Tied in points. So this is where Bottas needs to step up and earn his freaking money.
Yeah.
Like,
Earn his new contract.
yeah, earn his new freaking contract, dude. Step up, man. Stop letting Vettel come second. You're in the you know, if Hamilton could put the car on P1, why can't you put the car on P2?
You know what? One point we didn't mention during qualifying was that the only reason Vettel was so close to Hamilton is because Raikkonen gave Vettel a slipstream.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
You know, otherwise Vettel would not have been as close to Hamilton.
And Vettel was real cocky after qualifying.
I think
about his
because
race
he
pace.
sacrificed quali so that he could have race pace.
Right. Yeah. Well, it didn't. I didn't see it.
Well,
and
we saw
He
it.
stayed with him.
We
He
saw
stayed
it
with
'cause
him.
he
I give
stayed
it
with
that.
him.
But
Right.
when it came to it, I don't know if Lewis had another engine mapping that he could do something to keep the drag
Why
race.
the hell don't other teams have engine mappings so they can turn? I mean,
Well, I mean, they do have it.
they're not burning enough oil.
They can't. You know, if you're in the McLaren, you're gonna blow your damn engine up trying to go to another mapping. So
They don't have
it makes no point.
reliability issues.
Yeah. So I mean, it was all, you know, the race was all set up to be, you know, have Bottas and Hamilton on the podium. Safety car pretty much ruined that for Bottas. You know what I mean? He's put on those soft tires and he couldn't cope. You know, another thought is it was a shame to see Verstappen go out so early in his home race. That
Unacceptable.
just sucked, man.
Unacceptable.
Can you imagine being a fan? You know, you got your orange shirt on. You know, you've been waiting all year for this race, and your guy goes out. Like,
You paid all that money,
all that money
to be there.
Yeah.
And he goes out.
So you got the ultimate disappointment for Verstappen at his home race. You got Bottas not doing what he should be doing as a teammate in Mercedes. Does that raise the specter that Verstappen is going to Mercedes next year?
I mean, anything's possible. Anything's possible. We don't have a new contract for Bottas yet, so, you know.
Yeah. And then the big, you know, highlight of this race was just Force India and, you know.
What the hell are they going to do about those two drivers?
Well, you know, there were some big statements by the team owner about the two of them need to figure it out. Otherwise, neither one of them's going to be driving.
I heard an interview with Sky Sport during the race where they interviewed the owner of the team, and he said the only solution is to get rid of one of the drivers.
Yeah. There's some talk of having a third driver step in and start driving.
Hey,
So, I think something like that needs to happen.
absolutely.
It's too many races. One race, maybe two races, yeah. But if they can't figure it out by now, you got to take it out of their hands.
I'm
man.
taking control of this shit.
Yep.
If
Take
I'm
it
the
out of their
owner, I'm
hands.
taking control of this.
I like what Ocon. That's my boy. I like what Ocon said. He said, "I'll speak to him man to man." He said, "I'm not afraid of him." You know.
But then Sky Sports reported that they saw them both in the back of the pits after he said that, and they both walked past each other
And
say
didn't speak.
anything. So maybe he's going to say something to him later. Maybe not right at that moment, or maybe he just knows what to say in front of the camera. You know.
He's trying to call my man a chump. Like
I'm just
didn't take
saying
his
he
opportunity.
knows what to say, but you know, right after that interview,
Yeah.
he didn't say it.
Yeah. Well,
He
maybe.
walked past him like a matador.
Yeah. Whatever, man. Yeah. It's
Olay, motherfucker, Olay.
Yeah. The other issue for me was did you see? I mean, Ricardo seemed like extra happy on the podium, like
He should be.
extra happy.
He had no reason being there.
The whole time I'm expecting Shuey to come out, and
Nasty ass.
I think he made a point. I think the drivers
Nasty
got a
ass
hold of
shit.
him and said, "Look, motherfucker, you bring this Shuey shit up one more time, I'm gonna whoop your ass." Because who was it that was running from the Shuey? I forget who it was, man. They got on the podium.
Lewis just ain't having it.
Lewis ain't having
He ain't
it.
having it.
Bottas wasn't having that shoey shit. He was like, "Get this nasty ass shoe out my face." And I think I think Ricardo got the hint. He's like, okay, enough of this shoey shit.
Save that for a race win.
When you win, yeah, when you win.
Win the race, do your disgusting ass shoey.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, Australians, we love y'all. We love you.
Yeah, what's up? What's
we
up?
love you, but
And then,
that's disgusting.
But I thought it was pretty cool the way Ricardo was playing to the crowd. They kept talking about the Mexican wave. Like, what the hell is a Mexican wave?
I don't know what that is.
So Ricardo, as Hamilton was being interviewed post race, Ricardo's in the background, like, interacting with the crowd, and Lewis actually stopped in the middle of his interview and was like, "Yeah, what's the Mexican wave is going on? I want to be part of that. I want to get into that." And it was, I don't know, it was just kind of weird to me. Ricardo just seemed extra happy to be on the podium this time.
He should be. He's beating a teammate that's better than him.
So I had a question. With all these engine problems with Verstappen, is there a performance clause that he has in his contract? That
Who knows? Who knows? We have every reason to believe that there is, and that he's trying to exercise that. But there may not be anywhere for him to go. Red Bull may say, "Okay, yeah, we give you this performance clause because we know there ain't nowhere for your ass to go."
Right.
But who knows? He may wind up at even though Vettel and Raikkonen have contracts for next year and the next 3 years, he could still wind up there. Toilet paper, man. These contracts are written on TV.
That's what I would like to see, is Vettel and Verstappen going at it. I would
Verstappen
like to see that.
wipe his butt.
Yeah.
Would wipe him up.
Yeah.
He might have a challenge with Hamilton. He might have a challenge
Only
with
because
Alonso.
Mercedes doesn't give Hamilton the same level
If they
of
gave
respect.
if they gave Hamilton a fair chance,
Yeah.
which they didn't give him with
Rosberg last year.
with Rosberg. And Mercedes got what they deserved.
Man won it and took his ball and went home. I'm done with this shit.
Mercedes was like, "But wait a minute, we just helped you get the championship. What do you mean?"
Deuces, I'm out.
Vivian, we did it, Vivian.
Yeah, me and my average wife gonna go have some more babies.
That is not an average wife. She got loot, dude.
Yeah,
She got loot.
Yeah, that don't make her look any better in my eyes.
Makes her look better than me.
Okay.
She's a dime.
Okay.
She's a dime.
I'll take the McDonald's girl who looks like Scherzinger.
I'll take Vivian, the rich dime. You can have what you want. I'll take Vivian, the rich dime. All right, dude. That's all we got.
That's it, man. That's it for
All right.
this episode.
That is the Formula One passport, fellas. Appreciate it.
We'll be back at it next week with
Monza.
Next week. Back in Monza.
Back in Monza.
Back to back. You gotta love those back to back races.
All right, fellas. Peace out.
Later.